Barack? No, that's house. Oh, that's spirit. I don't know.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
All right. Good morning. Where have you guys been? Man, it's been a while. When's the last time we shot, Dan?
I think it's been a few months, hasn't it?
A few months.
Maybe,
Wow.
Maybe August.
Okay. I'm glad Doug's schedule freed up.
Well, I'm a busy guy.
Working for the kingdom.
Yeah.
No, Going to the Phillies game.
Yeah, so there are some issues that we had this morning with regards to our technical setup here.
Yeah, because we actually have been here for a while trying to get this.
Yeah. So we, I posted earlier, we're going to be on at 8 o'clock. It's 8:47 now. Ron's got to be out of here because Ron's a busy guy and an important guy.
Don't you dare try to switch that on me.
These celebrity pastors.
Oh yeah,
a lot of
celebrity pastor from the hood, right here, baby, right here.
Wealthy celebrity pastors.
Yeah. My limo's downstairs waiting to take me back to the hood.
Kinds of speaking engagements, meetings, with the press and everything.
Oh
so
meeting with the police to see what happened last week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm living the life. I'm living the dream, baby. My book's coming out soon.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna sign that for people.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So what I thought we would do is, rather than just leave our audience hanging, I thought we would just take about 15 minutes here today. Just maybe give some ministry and life updates. I know it's been a couple of months. I know since we were last on, we started school year started, and that's been really busy. A lot of things.
So it's been since
on.
The summer.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
since we shot.
So we're actually in the middle of our series on sexual ethics.
Yeah.
All right. So we started talking about the progressive church, which leads into a discussion about sexual ethics, and I've gotten actually a number of people I know who've been waiting for this episode because they have a lot of questions about this. What does the Bible say about homosexuality, about how our lives are to be lived sexually? What does the Bible say about gender and gender identity? Okay, and so we will get into all of that in our next podcast, I think 2 weeks from today. So just to give you an update on the podcast, we're going to shoot for every other Saturday.
Unless we can do next Saturday to start it off.
Well, that's true. Yeah, because this isn't a technical, like this is just a few minute kind of, hey,
so
give you an update.
We shoot to meet next Saturday?
Next Saturday.
All right.
Next Saturday.
I don't think I have any apple picking plans next Saturday, so
you better check with the wife. It might be pumpkin picking this time.
Well, we've got plenty of we got our pumpkins and we carved them up. We picked apples, carved pumpkins, did the whole.
Oh, you did everything.
Did the whole fall thing. Yeah.
All right. Did any apple pies come out of that experience of picking the apples? I'm wondering.
An apple crisp. We don't do apple
Steph
pie.
Steph made an apple crisp.
An apple crisp. Yeah, very good.
Okay, all gone. Didn't save
None
any.
that made it to staff meetings.
None made it to staff. Okay, all right. I'm just wondering. All right.
So,
so next Saturday we'll try to have a full episode, and then every other week from there, try to be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So long as your schedule allows it.
Absolutely. Right.
So we are in the middle of the discussion on sexual ethics. We will continue that next Saturday, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into gender identity and transgenderism. We're going to get into Old Testament teachings versus New Testament teachings. What does the Bible say about it?
Yeah.
And then we just want to talk about what the Bible says about sexual immorality and what falls under that heading of sexual immorality.
Yeah.
And then we want to delve into the practical outworkings of how a Christian is to engage in a culture that has a very different perspective with regards to gender and sexual ethics than the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of those issues that does separate us from the broader culture. Now there are many, but this is a major one. And so we're going to talk. And so what we want is we want people to be able to understand. Okay, how do I interact with my niece, right, who just came out as whatever, and we're going to be on vacation together.
Yeah.
My friend at work, coworkers, my child, right? And so we're going to get very practical on how how does the gospel lead us into these kind of relationships, and how do we respond? So, so that'll be next week. So for the next 10 minutes or so, I thought we would just take a moment and talk to, just give some life and ministry updates from our black member of our Black and White Theology and the white member of our black and white theology.
Okay, all right. I checked. My mom was white, so
well,
just, why can't I be white?
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm asking.
What do you identify as?
I identify as a blood-bought believer in Jesus Christ.
There you go. There's your identity.
That's my identity
in Christ.
No, so a lot has happened. So this past summer, we actually merged with another church, Hope Community Church, which really praise God for just how all this came about. We, as you guys know, we've been up in Allentown, I guess 2 years. Started Allentown Fellowship Church, and then about a year ago, we met Pastor Emmanuel Suarez and his wife Laura. They have been in Allentown probably for about 10 years, 12 years at Hope Community Church. And it's it's amazing how these things happen sometimes, right? I was actually in a thrift store buying my daughter, I forget what I was buying now, and there was this older gentleman standing behind me in line at Liberty Thrift. And he just, and I don't know this guy. And he says to me, "Can I pray for you?" So that's kind of unusual, right?
Yeah. You're not an everyday. Yeah, most people aren't.
I turn around and older gentleman. I said, "Yeah, sure." And my daughter's just smiling, like, "Okay, let's see how Dad's gonna handle this." And he said, "What can I pray for?" And so it's like, well, actually, we just started a church in Allentown. Allentown Fellowship Church. You can pray for that. So he takes my hand. 30-second prayer. And, as the line's moving and people are cashing out, and I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay." So I go, pay for the thing. We're leaving. Then another lady says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Let me guess, you want to pray?" And she says, "Did I hear you just tell that older gentleman that you started a church in Allentown?" I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Do you know Pastor Emmanuel?" I said, "Nope." She said, "Here, you got to take his number. You got to give him a call." That's how I met Pastor Emmanuel. So I don't know if it was that
So the guy that prayed with you, who was he?
I don't know.
Oh.
It was just a customer.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't know me. He didn't know that lady, but she overheard the prayer request. So I called Pastor Emmanuel, and I'm telling him this story. And I said, "Let's just get together and talk." And that started a friendship over the last year of us meeting. And we would meet and have these 2-hour conversations just talking about ministry, life, our family, the church plants, and how things are going. And so then we started to work together.
He planted
Hope, about 12 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago. And so I said, "Well, look, let's just work together. We're in a very difficult community, a lot of homelessness, addictions, broken homes, and we're down around 5th Street, and he's at 12th Street, about 7 blocks away." Yeah. So he has already been outreaching in the community.
So let me get this right. There was a church about 12 blocks away, and then you planted a church.
Yep.
And he didn't feel threatened that you were going to come into his territory and take over.
That's what was so refreshing as we talked. And so, again, them being more established than we are, they already had outreaches that they were doing.
Yeah.
So I said, "Why don't we bring our people just to help?" He said, "That'd be awesome." And so we did that about 2 or 3 different times. So and this is over like a year process. And the whole time we're talking, we're, just communicating back and forth. And then finally, this past summer, it was really like in June, we start talking again. I said, "I'm really been praying about us just joining together. It just seems to make sense. We understand the mission. We understand it's about making disciples, proclaiming Jesus. It's not about my ministry. It's not about yours." He said, "I've been thinking the same thing." So this past July, our formal process was I came to Hope with our congregation, and for a month we worshiped together. During that time, I preached, Pastor Emmanuel preached, then we had these pastoral forums where we just sat on the platform and took questions from both congregations. And they were really good questions from our personal lives to our philosophy of ministry to, what brought us to Allentown, what's going to be the pros and cons if we do merge. I mean, just open questions. And we had the congregations just ask whatever you want to ask. At the end of that month process, first Sunday in August of this past year, we voted, and the vote was unanimous, all except one. So full disclosure, unanimous except one. That was the reason behind that was that person had not been there for the process.
Oh, okay.
So they said, I can't in good conscience say yes or no. I mean, I really haven't been there.
So they weren't antagonistic against
No, it wasn't a negative thing in that regard. So we are in the process right now of dissolving Allentown Fellowship as a corporation.
Yep.
And we've been...
So you're going to keep the name now,
Hope Community Church.
Okay.
We're going to keep that name. And so since the merger, Pastor Emmanuel and I have just been meeting, praying, and now planning out the work of the ministry. We'll be sharing the pulpit. Obviously, I'm excited to bring the counseling aspect into the ministry, into the community.
Yep.
And it's just, I praise God because what Hope is doing is where AFC was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Right. And we were still trying to build an infrastructure and even find a home.
Yep.
But now it's like we can just hit the ground and start ministering to people.
Yeah, I mean, all of
it's
those things that you needed are automatically there now.
Yeah,
with
it's been
an
awesome.
established church.
It's been awesome. So Hope Youth has, we started up Hope Youth, which they had running, but they just, COVID, again, like everybody shut down. So they're kind of restarting their things. And now we're on board to work together. So the Hope Youth is up and running. We're going to start a Hope men's group. Start meeting once a month, dealing with men, talking about fatherhood, what it means to be a biblical man, things that not only our people need at Hope, but the community needs.
Yeah.
It's just so much brokenness up there. But,
So what I love about even what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast, even calling it Black and White Theology, is that it's intended to kind of talk about theological issues that affect Christians that come from different backgrounds. Right. So obviously we've talked about this. Your background vastly different than my background. Your current ministry very different than my current ministry. Right. I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia. You're now north of us in Allentown, which is more of a Philadelphia-like culture, really.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of, my church is in between Allentown and Philadelphia, right? And you're up in Allentown. And so what I love about this is, the opportunity that now that we're going to have to, because really this podcast is really geared for people of Faith Church in Sellersville, but also people of Hope Community Church in Allentown, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so and now anyone outside of those churches that benefits from this podcast, that's great. We welcome any and all listeners and viewers to the podcast here, and hope to be a blessing to everybody. But our mission specifically with this podcast is to equip and teach and help the members of Faith Church in Sellersville and now Hope Community Church in Allentown.
Yeah.
And two very different churches.
Yeah, absolutely.
That believe very similar things about Christ and the Bible and everything, right? And yet are living in different cultures, only about, 25 minutes away?
Yep, 25, 30 minutes.
Right? And so what I've always been amazed with living in this area is just how little you have to go to find yourself in a completely different culture,
right?
Almost,
right?
And so, it's to me just a testimony of the centrality of the gospel, right? That regardless of where you are, the thing that is important that unifies the church is the gospel, right?
Yeah.
So I look forward to in the coming days being able to kind of talk about what it is that you guys are doing in more of an urban setting to reach people, to build the church, and we've talked about bringing Pastor Emmanuel in to kind of share his perspective.
Yeah, we're going to have to change the name of the podcast. Yeah. It's going to have to be BWH. Black, White, Hispanic podcast. We may have to change up the music a little bit too.
Black, White, Brown, whatever.
BWB.
Yeah.
How would that look on a T-shirt? No, okay.
Dan's not commenting.
Dan's not saying anything. He doesn't want to be canceled.
Yeah. But really,
but
that is the beauty.
What's that, Dan? Did you say something?
Canceled again.
Yeah.
Oh, canceled again. Oh, wow.
That is the beauty of what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast, that regardless of ethnic or racial or economic background, is we're all members of the same body, right?
That's it.
And so what we want to do is we want to see and recognize, that your ministry in Allentown is going to look different than my ministry in Sellersville, without question.
Right.
And so yet we're still going to struggle with even some of the issues that we're talking about with gender.
We've already run into these same issues with sexuality. It's like you said, it's not unique to any particular culture, right? Because these are matters of the heart, right? And so we have to deal with all of these issues,
well, and
no matter where we are.
You've got your kind of toe dipped in both worlds,
Right.
working at Faith Christian Academy in Quakertown, right? With students who are living in these kind of suburban areas, and the campus of Quakertown is in the middle of farmland, right?
Literally, there's a cornfield, right next to the soccer field.
So the academy, the school there is right in the middle of a cornfield, basically. Yeah. And then you on the weekends are and throughout the week are ministering up in Allentown,
the Allentown area. Yeah.
So you've really got ministry in both worlds. Yeah. And so anyway, so we are in, and your ministry at Faith is still going and challenging, and you're running into all kinds of issues with students there. I know that intersect with what we're talking about, even with, obviously, we've got young people that are growing up in a completely different world than you and I grew up in with regards to sexual identity and gender and things like that. And I know you're running into that, as are we here in the suburban church within our youth ministry here at Faith. Yeah. We're hitting it, and it's
and even among the young people, and we'll get into this more when we get into this topic. I think with a lot of our young people, for some of them, not all of them, but for a lot of them, it's a trendy thing. It's sometimes their convictions aren't really that deep when it comes to their sexuality, but it's kind of like a trend to not just be male or female, but, well, I'm bi, I'm pan, I'm this. And then when you ask them, well, what do you mean by that? And how do you know that? Because I'm having these conversations with youth. It's just kind of what they feel, but then you start to realize it's what they're seeing on social media. They're kind of jumping on the bandwagon, but the conviction doesn't run that deep. Now, there are those who truly are struggling, right? So it's very interesting, this whole...
So what you're saying is we shouldn't allow young people who are young and impressionable to dictate changes that could alter the course of their life forever.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the
maturity level, even the cognitive development in their thinking and understanding consequences and understanding, right? So much of it, and the younger you go, it's more emotion driven. And we need to be able to help come alongside of those emotions and care and love them.
Guide adolescents in their youth.
And guide them.
Toward health and vitality and flourishing in life.
Yes.
And we're going to get in. And sometimes that means telling them something that may not make them feel good in the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we'll jump into all of that. I've got some video clips I want to show you from what the media is saying, just kind of what we're up against and why they're so impressionable. And so I look forward to taking at least another couple episodes of our podcast, because I know people are running into us, and I'm getting emails, and I'm getting people coming up, Doug, how do I interact? How do I address this? What do I say? What does the Bible say about it? Is this right? Is this wrong? I feel bad when I condemn it, but at the same time, there's just a lot of tension around this issue.
And the thing that makes it a little confusing is all the different labels that are being thrown around. Like, what does this even mean? I tell you, for you guys who are really, again, just like, hey, asking the questions, what do I do? A great resource, and I would encourage you to grab, is Mark Yarhouse, Yarhouse. Mark Yarhouse. He's a believer, so this is written from a biblical perspective, but a book entitled Gender Dysphoria, Understanding the Whole Transgenderism. He does a great job of first putting things in categories. So when someone says this is what they mean. And I think, if we're going to interact with people, biblically, and we have to understand what we're interacting with, right? And what the mindset is behind these labels. So understanding those labels it's very important to know where people are coming from. So I would encourage you to grab Mark Yarhouse's book on gender dysphoria, and he does a very good job in helping to sort out all of these labels. And then he talks about, okay, so now how do we handle this from a biblical perspective? Really good resource.
Yeah. How's your family doing? Updates with your family?
Everybody's good. You know, Monique is still working hard, and she's still with me. You know, we just did 28 years.
Okay.
Man, I can't believe it. So, we always renegotiate, and she signed up for another year. So they're doing good. Hannah's on her own.
3 out of high school now, graduated?
Yeah, well, Leah's graduating this year. So that'll be the fourth one out of high school, right? Hannah's out. Ronald's out. Matthew came out last year. Now Leah's out.
Yeah.
So that'll leave KK.
Yeah.
So, man, it's like, what is going on? You know, I took Monique and I took a selfie. We were at a wedding last week and took a selfie out in the beautiful gardens. I looked at the picture. I said, man, I look old. What's happening? And stop shaking your head.
You got some gray in the goatee there.
It's like, but it's like a slow creep, right? Right? It's just.
And then you wake up and you're.
I know, sitting in a rocking chair.
And
honey, could you bring me my applesauce? Is my applesauce warm? But anyway, but everybody's doing good, man. Trying to all figure out what career path they want to go on. And
parenting doesn't end after high school, right?
No, as a matter of fact, I think that's where it really ramps up.
Yeah.
Because now they're trying to make the right decisions, right? But thank God everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing well. Yeah. So.
Well, here at Faith Church, we are plugging along. And God's been just doing some really awesome things here. We're in the middle of building renovations here since FCA moved out about 2 years ago.
Yeah, the place looks like totally different.
Yeah. There's certain places that are still original back in the 80s. And then you walk into something that's brand new, renovated, and stuff that's in the middle of being renovated. And we got a dusty studio here right now. Yeah, that Ron came in and. Wipe down the chairs and stuff.
The servant's heart. I never lost it.
We dusted off the microphones and dusted off the switchers and cameras.
Yeah, I know.
Got things up and running.
Keep rolling, man. By the way, I do want to rent out the library for a function.
You want to rent it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys renting
that out?
It's
not actually a library. It's called the Fireside Room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to get it right.
A Fireside Room. Now that I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And the cool thing is we do have a lot of people coming in and renting parts of the facility.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it's really providing opportunities for us to have the community into our building.
Okay.
And just build new relationships with people and get to know people we wouldn't have met otherwise. So we're really trying to utilize the building as an opportunity because the community is looking for space to rent and use for sports, for cheerleading groups, karate groups.
Okay.
Construction companies are doing conferences. It's just God's just really allowed us, because one of the things we said is, how do we use this facility that we have that's paid off now that we're renovating? We don't want it just to sit empty most of the week, right? And so we're having the community come in, use our ball field up there, and just it's been really cool just to for us to be able to use this for the community to be here and connect and plug in and so that's been good. We're in the midst of looking for and identifying our next youth director here at the church. And so that's been a process that's admittedly taken a little longer than we had anticipated. But we're waiting on God. We're conducting interviews even now. Conducted one this last week. And so we're just seeking God's will with his direction there and identifying the man that would come in and be the next youth director here. And so, but, people are, we just baptized a number of people a couple of weeks ago, and people are joining. And so Dan's busy. He's neck deep in small group people. I mean, it's like on a weekly basis, more and more people are coming saying, hey, I need to be a part of a discipleship group, a small group. Yeah. And right now, our small groups are outpacing our renovations. So
wow,
we're running into space issues
awesome.
With groups to meet in, at certain times during the week.
I remember that was just getting started, right when we left.
Yeah. So that's
it's
just neat to see
the
fruition of the work and the foundations that have been laid over the past couple of years. and so yes, it's and then there's challenges as well. There always are in ministry.
Absolutely.
And so, but at the same time, God's been really good here at Faith, and my family is doing well. My boys are all in. Well, they'll all be in high school next year. I have one in middle school, and then two in high school. And then my daughter's in.
Yeah, I
still
have
in
Titus
elementary
in
school.
one of my classes.
Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, it's going good. He has a lot of good input.
He has a lot to say, doesn't he?
He does have a lot to say.
Yeah.
But then he's clued in too. He's clued in. He does give a lot of good answers that are on point of what we're talking about.
Maybe we'll have Titus come on the Black and White Theology podcast.
That'd be great.
And share his
I think
perspective from the next generation.
it'd be awesome to get. Yeah, I would love to do that, man. It'd be neat, man, to get like a Titus and some of the young guys here, and get some of the youth from Allentown.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, you know what's interesting, Ron, is I have Leah in my James class.
Okay.
So we could bring her in. We could have
That's
a
right.
whole little panel.
We could probably have
That'd be
Leah
a-
and Titus just do the podcast.
They could do the podcast.
Those two could probably.
We will not
just
get
be
a
fine.
word in.
Yeah.
We will not get a word in. But we got it. Those would be two good ones, and not just because they're our kids, but they are very very opinionated, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but they have things to say, and to hear their perspective. That would be neat to do a podcast, hearing from the younger generation. Hey, what are you guys seeing?
Yeah, we'll get there. So
anyway,
anyway,
that'd be neat.
as we wrap up, we got a lot of ideas for the future. I know it's been a break for a couple of months here, but just kind of reorient ourselves to this for whatever reason. This new school year for all of us has just been a lot right now. I know FCA is growing but like crazy, like over 900 students now. I know your plate's been full with Allentown and Hope Community Church and ours as well. So so took a couple months off, and maybe God just crashed our computer drivers this morning for a reason. So
He's
that we
sovereign,
could just
man.
take a moment and just kind of share,
Kind of
an update.
reboot.
Yeah,
Kind of reboot.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good way of putting it.
Kind of reboot and
refocus.
because I'm excited for you guys to meet Pastor Emmanuel and just hear what's going on in Allentown and just things that we can start doing together. I'm excited. Like I said, the infrastructure is not an issue anymore. We're doing the work in the ministry now, and so we're excited, man.
All right. Well, you got to go to a meeting, and
Yes, sir.
I got to go get some work done. So
All right.
we will see you guys next Saturday.
Next
8 a.m.
Saturday, 8 a.m. New time, new place. Be here.
Same place.
Oh, same time? Same
New
place?
time from last year. Anyway, we'll see you guys.
Okay.
Have a great
No,
week.
we never did 8 a.m. in the morning.
It is a new time.